That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
And all you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni-beating, pie-eating, trailblazing, eyebrow-raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 25 for today, Monday, July 13th, 2015. I'm your host, Dave Brown. Thank you for joining us. You can hear Around the Ring each and every week, a number of different spots. You can check us out at our homepage, aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to get around to spending some money on that thing so I can actually have a non-crappy website. You can also hear us on the Spark Radio Network, the Kings of Wrestling Radio at kowradio.weebly.com, and Around the Ring airs right now every Tuesday right after Tough Enough, so make sure to check that out. You can also hear us on Stitcher Radio and TuneIn Radio, so very glad to be both on both of those platforms. And so this week we're going to talk about a number of different things. We got some updates on Lucha Underground Season 2. Some pretty cool stuff happened on Ring of Honor this week. A Raw that was meh. Setting up Battleground. We're going to do some Battleground predictions. And then also I'm going to talk a little bit, if I don't forget at least by the time this is all said and done, about San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend, which of course my fat ass did not get to go to because I am poor and live in Oklahoma. But there was some cool stuff that came out of that, including some pretty kick-ass trailers, and being the big comic nerd that I am, I wanted to talk about that stuff. So we will get into all of that. We're going to go ahead and just start it off at the beginning of last week. We'll start with Monday Night Raw. So last week's Raw was, it didn't start off well. Start off with a shit ton of flashbacks, and I'm so sick of these. Every stinking week, flashbacks and replays of, hey, what happened last week on Raw? Hey, what happened 5 minutes ago on Raw? Hey, what happened on SmackDown that doesn't even count? Hey, let's rewatch this. You know, guys, if you didn't have 3 hours of programming to have to fill, you could actually have a really good product, because you've got some of the best talent in the world right now in professional wrestling, yet you keep putting out shitty television. And, real quick, before we get too much farther, apparently USA Network is not too happy with the WWE. They're pretty disappointed with the Tough Enough ratings, and they think that wrestling just in general is on a downturn. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You want to know why? Why is wrestling on a downturn? Because the WWE sucks. Essentially, the WWE is such a great example of everything wrong with corporate America in this country. They micromanage the hell out of their talent. They don't let their talent be themselves, because what made them successful was a bunch of crazy fools being themselves, which got people excited about the product and made them want to watch. Well, then, with success, they decided they needed to start, having more control, more handle on things. You don't want people just going off half-cocked, flipping the bird, saying cuss words, drinking beers on the show, whatever. And, okay, so, yes, you're trying to make a PG product, especially when one of your main owners of the company is running for a Republican Senate seat. So, that part I understand. But what they have done is completely neutered their talent. And it's ridiculous. They just don't know what to do anymore, I think. And part of it is you've got this old guard, Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, that will not let go. And they've got these very old-fangled ideas about what wrestling should be, or sports entertainment, because God forbid we actually call it wrestling. And so they micromanage the hell out of everything. They don't let the employees let the talent be themselves, and they don't let them shine. What makes organizations like Ring of Honor work, and what even makes NXT work, and Lucha Underground, is you've got these talents that the characters they develop they're allowed to develop them, and in so many cases they're just being themselves, and that's why it works. And the interesting conundrum in this is you've got wrestling, which is, as far as a mainstream product, is not doing very well, but as far as like a niche product, it's probably doing better than it ever has. We've got more wrestling on television right now than we've ever had before. If you think every week the programs, we just won't even count WWE programs. You've got TNA, which, yes, is falling apart, but it's still on there. You've got Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, and you've got New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then regionally, you've got shows like PWG is on in different parts of the country. CZW has shows in different parts of the country. You've got stuff all over. And then on top of that, you've got, NXT, which is, on fire. You've got then Raw and SmackDown, which are both mediocre as all hell. So you've got a very healthy environment for a niche audience. And in this day and age, niche markets are where it's at. I mean, yeah, there can still be huge mainstream success, and I think it is still possible for wrestling to have huge audiences and whatnot, but they need to focus on the fans, the people that come out each and every week, that watch each and every week. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. WWE, if they want to be successful, they need to make the fans happy. The fans will then, by word of mouth, tell their friends, hey, I know you haven't watched wrestling since Steve Austin retired, but you got to check this out. You got to see this cat Cesaro. He's incredible. You got to see what Brock Lesnar just did. It's unreal. You've got to, you got to go over. Did you know you have this El Rey network? You got to check this crazy shit out with these guys in these masks and this dingy temple. What they're doing to each other. That Son of Havoc guy is insane. That's the kind of buzz that it creates. So the more successful WWE can be without being the Walmart of wrestling, without trying to trample everyone, the more successful the entire industry can be. Of course, that's not going to happen because WWE, like the rest of corporate America, is very short-sighted and are just going to look for what can we do to improve the ratings right this second? What can we do to improve the stock price right this second? What can we do to make sure this next event has the attendance numbers that we want without having long-term plans? And it's sad. And you watch the show, and it is so short-sighted. And it's sad, especially when you look at this roster and you look at just the talent in wrestling in general right now, and it's so much better than it's ever been. I put guys, I would say, I put a guy like Cesaro up against a Shawn Michaels and a Ric Flair and a Bret Hart as far as in-ring ability. Just as good, if not better. He might not have, say, the charisma or the mic skills of, say, a Ric Flair, but Ric Flair's one of, a few. You talk about the greatest talkers in the history of professional wrestling, and Ric Flair's in the top 5, if not, top 3. And in fact, I would put the top 3 talkers in pro wrestling of all time. I would say you'd have to say, in no particular order, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and The Rock, and then probably Paul Heyman. So those are the 4 best talkers ever in professional wrestling, at least in the last 30 years since the 1970s. Where the hell was I going with that? Damn, just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, in-ring ability, Cesaro. Yeah, so you've got guys on the rosters right now who are phenomenal. Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Hell yeah, I will take these guys any day of the week over freaking Val Venus. What the hell? Or Disco Inferno? What was that crap? So yeah, the product, as far as the in-ring stuff, 1,000 times better than it's quite possibly ever been. And certainly better than the glory days that these people love to opine about. But of course they don't do anything to really create success, and it's just sad. And this Monday night was a great example. We start off with a bunch of boring-ass flashbacks. We do get a Paul Heyman promo, which, one of the things is, another big story that happened this week is there were some documents were leaked that were rules, and they're probably a good 5 years old, but rules that the announcers are supposed to follow. And it's like 8 pages, the majority of which is things not to say. And it's ridiculous. And it's, it is no wonder that the announcing is so bad. And a great example is Michael Cole at one point during the Paul Heyman segment. Oh God, I've got hiccups, sorry. Said the audience was chanting Suplex City in unison, except they weren't. Half the audience was chanting Suplex City at one point, and the other half was chanting at another point. It was not in unison. Had he just said they are chanting Suplex City, he would have been correct. But no, he said in unison, and they were clearly not in unison. I suspect that was either a Kevin Dunn or a Vince McMahon in his ear thing. And, Michael Cole can be really good. If you go back and you watch the special from Japan, The Beast in the East, Michael Cole was great on that. It was listening to him and Byron Saxton on that team, they were so good. You know why they were good? Because they didn't have Vince McMahon screaming in their headset the whole time. That's why. Let these people do their damn jobs. You hired them for a reason. They have ability. Let them do their jobs, and they will succeed, and your product will get better, your ratings will get better. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's the other problem, man. They might let somebody do something and it doesn't immediately pop a big rating. Well, fucking A, man. You got to give this stuff time. Sweet mother of God. But yeah, let's see. So what else happened on the show? The awful pictures, quote unquote, of Kane at the beach in Hawaii were ridiculous. Why they couldn't just have him go to a beach. I mean, they were in freaking Japan, for God's sakes. Hey, let's go to a beach and just take some pictures. Wouldn't be that hard. Take him to a beach, put one of those lay things on him, have him sit around. This isn't rocket science, people. Really not that damn hard. Then let's see what else happened. Oh yeah, the Big Show came out for a match with Ryback. I fast forwarded through most of this. The Miz was sitting in a director's chair with a mic during the match, making smart-ass comments. I mean, who fucking cares, man? Who cares? There was some attempts at a "Please Retire" chant at the Big Show, which was great. And I like Ryback, but this run as Intercontinental Champion has sucked. So the poor guy, and I don't know what they're going to have to do to elevate the title, to elevate him. He's just, languishing there. Being in a feud with the Big Show and the Miz is pretty stupid. I mean, there's some of the antics are kind of funny, but it's just overall pretty bad. There's a match, Paige against Brie Bella. This was painful. Paige is so much better than what they have her doing. It's not even funny. The poor Divas division is in such dire straits that needs an overhaul so bad. Brie Bella is awful. She can be someone who stands at the side of the ring, be a valet. She is awful. Nikki is passable. Nikki has actually gotten a lot better. Paige is great. But Paige has been hanging around these people that suck for so long, she's starting to suck. And, it's all of that micromanagement crap. Let her go out and have a kick-ass match like we saw in NXT. But nope. Can't have that. Then we had Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. I just yawn anytime Sheamus is around. And, I gotta ask, what the hell does he yell when he comes through the ring? He stands there, when the lights go on, he yells something. He used to scream "fella," which made no sense at all. But now he says like 3 words. Can't make them out. I just don't get it. Roman Reigns desperately needs some new gear. He needs a new outfit to wear. His vest thing looks stupid, especially with his Roman Reigns symbol on there. He needs new gear. I do like what they're doing with him, though, being just wicked pissed and going off and just beating the holy hell out of everyone. And I'm enjoying this feud with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's promos have been really good. Bray Wyatt's a great promo. And I think these two work really well together. It's just a shame that, the Wyatt family had to be broken up and the Shield had to be broken up, but we couldn't just have more Shield-Wyatt family feuds. But Reigns got distracted, ran out of the ring. Sheamus won via countout, yawn. Randy Orton came down, and Randy Orton's run-ins, when he actually is running into the ring, it just looks bad. He and Sheamus brawled a little bit. He had an RKO. Does anyone care? No. So then there was a Rusev segment where apparently he beat down Dolph Ziggler. I just didn't watch it. I couldn't. Next up, we have Bo Dallas versus Dean Ambrose. And I was taking notes as I was watching. And when I see Bo come out, I just typed in all caps, followed by a whole bunch of exclamation points. Sweet Jesus, I can't talk this morning. In my defense, it is like 7:45 in the morning. But, anywho. So yeah, I had big capital letters. I just typed Bo Dallas. I love Bo Dallas. They're not doing anything with him. It's a crime. Bo Dallas is great. Bo Dallas should join the Wyatt family. He doesn't need to change. He just needs to be himself. And he just needs to say that he believes in Bray Wyatt. It would be fantastic. But it's a good idea, so it means it's not going to happen. Dean Ambrose got a haircut. I kind of like him with longer hair. There was a great set of chants. There was "Let's go Ambrose, we believe" chants, which are great. You gotta love Chicago crowds. The announcing during this match, the commentating was awful, but it was fun. You got two of the most entertaining guys out there right now, Bo Dallas and Dean Ambrose, in a match. So happy to see that. There was a match between R-Truth and Bad News Barrett. Couldn't watch it. Seth Rollins came out to basically talk trash about about Brock Lesnar. I fast-forwarded through the vast majority of this. Seth Rollins is fantastic in the ring, and he can do a good promo when it's short. But they send him out there, and he jibber-jabbers. And he yammers and yada-yadas and talks. And his voice can get really grating, and it's really fucking annoying. And that's about all I could... So I fast-forwarded through most of that. Then Brock Lesnar came out, and J&J Security's $55,000 car is sitting there, which they put some like camo strips or something on. And Brock walks out, looks in the ring, looks at the car. Paul Heyman wheels over a trunk that Lesnar opens up, pulls out a couple of axes, and which of course makes the three guys, J&J and Seth Rollins, in the ring look terrified. And he proceeds to dismantle the car. One of the most impressive moments where he opens the the driver's side rear door and rips it off its hinges. And then he threw the thing a good 20 feet at least. I mean, he just picks it up, he hurls it. Now what happened is it actually went flying into the audience. And it kind of broke into two pieces. Two guys somehow caught the door itself. How they did that, I don't know. But then there was the inner, like the inside part of the door, the part that you actually touch, and like where the armrest and stuff is. I forget what that's called. That's separated from the door, and apparently hit a kid. That kid was, I guess, then WWE took him backstage, probably gave him a buttload of merchandise, let him meet a bunch of wrestlers, And then he went back out to the crowd. And, hey, it was a freak accident. And that WWE did exactly what they should have done. Ran out, made sure the kid's okay, take him backstage, give him a bunch of free crap, and move on. So watching Brock Lesnar destroy a car was fun and impressive. The next up was the second best thing to happen on the show, in my opinion. And Brock Lesnar destroying the car wasn't even the best thing on the show. The New Day versus Lucha Dragons. So the New Day comes out, and I, just like with Bo Dallas, I wrote in all caps, New Day, ! I love the New Day. And in fact, I was at work the other day, and a customer came into the library, and she was wearing a Primetime Players shirt. And anytime anyone comes in with a wrestling t-shirt on, I make a comment. And I was like, hey, I love your shirt. And she's like, oh, great, thanks. I was like, I'm really glad the Primetime Players got the titles, but I was sad they took the belts off the New Day. She's like, oh, I hate the New Day. I said, the New Day is great. They're getting a response from people finally. And she's like, yeah, that's true. It's like, and plus Xavier Woods is awesome. And she's like, yeah, I do like Xavier Woods. He's pretty good. So that was fun. But during this match they had with the Lucha Dragons, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, the Primetime Players, came out and they were on commentary. And I was just, before I recorded the show, I was looking for a clip on YouTube from this match to get some of those quotes that happened. And there had been one at some point. I just didn't find one. I didn't want to take the time to really go searching because I've got stuff to do today, and so I wanted to get on with making the show. But oh man, there were a few things that really cracked me up. At one point, Titus O'Neil made a D's Nuts reference. If you don't know what that is, it went viral a while back. But yeah, Titus at one point says, "Got him," and I laughed out loud. It was hilarious. And then Titus just took JBL to town. He kept getting on JBL about not talking about the match. And then JBL made some stupid ass comment about, did they have math at Florida State? And Titus O'Neil said, yes, I have 2 degrees. He has a freaking master's degree. So how many do you have? JBL didn't say anything. He made JBL look horrible. They, honest to God, fire JBL right now. Hire Titus O'Neil as a commentator. Or at the very least, when Titus O'Neil's in-ring career is over, he needs to be on commentary because he was fantastic. And he made that whole team look like a bunch of bitches. It was so good. And that was the second best thing to happen on Raw. And this is, I will say, I will give Raw something this week. It ended strong. The 3 best things on Raw were the 3 last things we saw. And the absolute best thing on Raw was the John Cena U.S. title open challenge. Cena comes out. The reaction for him was great. He got the John Cena Sucks remix to his song. And then I think it was at that point that Kevin Owens comes out. They finally showed highlights from the Owens-Balor match from Beast in the East at this point, which I'd been hoping for at some point, and I've been hoping for more talk about the Beast in the East. Oh, which reminds me, real quick, to backtrack for a second, when the New Day came out, there's a moment when they walked by the car. Kofi Kingston looked at the car and looked scared. Of course, he just 3 days earlier had been destroyed by Brock Lesnar. But I digress. Anyway, back to John Cena. So they did the highlights of the Owens-Balor match, where Owens lost the NXT title. Owens comes out so pissed. He's such the perfect heel, saying he wants his fight now. He needs that title, all this and that. And then Cesaro's music hits. And again, this is another one I've got in all caps, Cesaro, in my notes. And Cesaro comes out to a great pop, and he gets on the mic and he says, you know what, if anyone deserves a shot at this title, it's me, after what you did last week. And Kevin Owens leaves the ring. I'm really hoping they're setting up for, at some point, a Cesaro-Kevin Owens feud. I think that would be phenomenal. And for all the Vince McMahon crap of Cesaro can't connect with the crowd, screw you, buddy. He had that crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. And the two had another just fantastic match. There was, at one point, Cesaro did a reversal into a crossface, which I always like. It's in my head, I see that move and I automatically think of Chris Benoit, the crippler crossface. It was great. There was a spinning springboard uppercut that he did that was just unreal. And there was a near fall at one point where Cesaro almost won, that the crowd was just about lost it. They were so behind Cesaro, on the edge of their seats the whole time. There was another god-awful springboard stunner. And really, there were a few points I truly thought Cesaro might win this match. But at the end, he kicked out of an AA. He had to get the super AA off the top rope to before he was pinned, and it was just another fan-fucking-tastic match. And it's about time Cesaro is in the main event. Cesaro main eventing that show, the U.S. title main eventing Raw, was great. I'm going to give creative and John Cena credit where credit is due. They have done a fantastic job rehabilitating the United States title and making it relevant, and the open challenge has been great. And this match, headlining Raw last week, fantastic. This is the kind of shit they need to be doing. It was incredible. Then after the show, after they went off the air, Cena did a promo where he praised Cesaro up and down. He called Cesaro back into the ring, said, "You deserve to be in the main event. You just keep doing what you're doing, and you're phenomenal." In not so many words. There's clips of it on YouTube you can find. But it was really nice. I mean, some people were ripping Cena for it. I think it was pretty genuine. And it was great. And the crowd was chanting Cesaro, Cesaro, Cesaro. And it was just a really nice moment. It's too bad that WWE didn't film that and put it on WWE.com, because that is the kind of thing that needs to happen more often. You need to have a guy like John Cena putting over a guy like Cesaro. And apparently they're like friends in real life. They work out together. So maybe at some point John Cena will do the deed and job out to Cesaro. And, and we're going to talk about Battleground here in just a second. But maybe, this whole Kevin Owens, Cesaro, John Cena thing is going to lead up to a triple threat match at SummerSlam, which would be fantastic, because we've got Battleground and then we have SummerSlam. So that would be something I would enjoy watching, because I think Cesaro as a babyface has huge potential. He was the U.S. champion at one point. In a way, I'd almost rather see him just go ahead and get elevated into the main event, into matches with, just into the main event. But then again, if you've got the U.S. title elevated to the point where it is headlining Monday Night Raw, then that's main event. And you know what? Back in the day, the U.S. title and the NWA and WCW and the IC title in WWE headline shows. Those titles, they were secondary titles, but the point was you are one step below the world champion. When you were holding that belt, not only were you the number one contender for the world title, you were just one step below the world champion. And those belts really need to get to that point again. And, really the U.S. title is kind of almost there. And in a way, I'm a little afraid to see what happens once it does finally come off of John Cena, if it's going to lose some of its luster. But yeah, that was so Raw overall was meh. We had 3 really good segments that happened all in the show. Brock Lesnar destroying Carr, John Cena and Cesaro 2.0, and Titus O'Neil destroying JBL was fantastic. So that leads us to Battleground next Sunday, which is July 19th, I believe. There is a pay-per-view / network event, Battleground, which as of right now does not have much of a card. So let me go over the card as it stands. I'm going to give you my predictions. So first up, we've got Ryback versus The Big Show versus The Miz for the IC title. I think Ryback's going to hold on to it. There's no reason at this point to pull the title off of Ryback, especially to give it to Big Show or Miz. I mean, fucking A. Big Show needs to retire, and Miz just needs to find something else to do, man. Who wants to see the Intercontinental title on either of those jabronis? I don't. I want to see it on Ryback. I want to see Ryback getting some feuds with somebody younger, and elevate that title through just kick-ass matches like John Cena's been doing. Next up is the tag team title match, Primetime Players defending against the New Day. I'm really not sure on this. I think the kind of the theory was that the Primetime Players were going to be transitional champions, and they were going to hold the title to then lose to Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Well, Eric Rowan got hurt, and so he's going to be out for a while, so who knows what's going to happen with that. Now, the Primetime Players have been great, and the New Day is fantastic, so I really don't know. I'd like to see this feud continue. I don't know if the titles need to be hot potatoes, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say New Day. I'd like to see New Day take it, just because I love those guys so much. But the Primetime Players have been really, really good, especially that bit on commentary with Titus O'Neil. Oh man, it made me really appreciate them even more. Next up, we've got John Cena versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. title. And originally I thought that Owens was going to walk out with his title and going to win this feud, and he still very much could. But then it was announced that Owens will be getting his rematch against Finn Balor for the NXT title at the next TakeOver, which will be in the Barclays Center, the same place that SummerSlam is happening, the night before SummerSlam. Which I think it's really cool that that's going to be in New York. I think the Hammerstein Ballroom would have been a better spot for it, but it would have been more intimate. But I think they can set up that arena so they can make it smaller for the NXT situation. The kind of bummer about it, and this is another example of WWE being corporate American bastards, is Ring of Honor has a show that same night that's going to have Okada and some other of the big New Japan guys, and it's going to be a pretty big show for them. And the fact that WWE came in and made their NXT show that same night really sucks, because the NXT fans and the Ring of Honor fans are often the same fans. So now people have to decide which one do they want to go see. And I don't know what's going to happen. What sucks is WWE could have put NXT on on Friday. Could have had their NXT show on Friday night. Then Ring of Honor could have had their show on Saturday. And then Sunday we could have had SummerSlam. And that would have been a win-win for everyone. Everyone would have gotten more ticket sales that way. But now WWE is actually cutting off their nose to spite their face. Because they don't want Ring of Honor to do well, they're trying to go in direct competition. Well, they're tickets that they could have probably sold for the NXT show that people were going to go see Ring of Honor instead. So yeah, it sucks. It's sad. It's stupid. But the whole point with this, as far as Battleground's concerned, is at first I thought Owens is going over. He has to, because otherwise his momentum kind of gets killed and all that stuff. But then you see this rematch TakeOver, and you know Owens isn't going back into NXT to stay. So why they don't have the rematch on just a regular episode of NXT, I don't know. But then subsequently, what if Owens is also in a match at SummerSlam the next night? So he's going to have a brutal match with Kevin Owens on Saturday, and then turn around on Sunday and have another, what I'm guessing is going to be a 3-way for the U.S. title, Cena, Owens, and Cesaro, which, oh my god, I'm looking forward to that if that happens. So yeah, that's just strange booking as far as I'm concerned. And it really hurts in the fans' eyes the possibility of Owens winning next Sunday at Battleground. So I don't know. I'm hoping Kevin Owens wins, but we'll see. Then we've got the Roman Reigns Bray Wyatt match. I think general consensus and oh god, what's that term? Conventional wisdom says that Roman Reigns is going to win this feud. I actually hope, my prediction is Bray Wyatt's going to win this match. Bray Wyatt needs the win. He needs a pay-per-view wins desperately. And this feud needs to go on for a while. So I say Bray Wyatt wins. I would love to see in the long run, I would love to see Bray Wyatt actually win this feud, because it will not hurt Roman Reigns at all. In fact, I think it'll help Roman Reigns. The best thing, though, would be, if they're not going to go full 3 matches, they have... Well, actually, go full 3 matches. Have this match, set up a double turn. SummerSlam, have the rematch, which has the double turn. Roman Reigns going heel, Bray Wyatt going babyface, and then the final face-off at the pay-per-view that follows SummerSlam, which the name I cannot remember, as the rubber match. And I think Bray Wyatt needs to be the one to go over. You can keep Roman Reigns as a babyface, but he's kind of languishing. And I don't know what else to do with the guy, because they're not going to put the world title on him right now, because the crowd will riot. The whole thing with Bray Wyatt and this whole anyone but you, Roman, is a sentiment that the audience really agrees with. They don't want to see Roman Reigns as the champion. Think about at Money in the Bank, when it looked like Roman Reigns was about to get the contract. The crowd visibly, I mean, you could hear them groan, like, oh no, and they started booing him. They love seeing him work with Dean Ambrose. They love seeing him just go ape shit and kick ass and everything. He doesn't need to be world champion right now. He'll be world champion at some point down the line. Dean Ambrose needs to be world champion right now. So, and maybe this is an idea Solid Monster mentioned on his show this week. Maybe next year, WrestleMania 32 for the world title, you have a triple threat match with the guys from the Shield, Ambrose, Reigns, and Rollins, which I would book that with Ambrose going over, which that would be amazing, and I think that would be a great match. But we'll have to see. Final match so far that has been announced for Battleground: Seth Rollins defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Brock Lesnar. It's their rematch from WrestleMania. I think Rollins is going over via fuck finish. I mean, yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna do? I mean, there's gonna be some fuck finish, and it's gonna suck. Because otherwise, does anyone believe that Seth Rollins can, in a one-on-one match, beat Brock Lesnar? Anyone? Bueller. Didn't think so. He's not going to win. Shit ain't happening, man. Not going to happen. So it's a fuck finish, because I don't think they're wanting to take the belt off Rollins. I don't think they want to put it on Lesnar again, because it did. Unless, if they put it on Lesnar again, if then the plan is to really elevate the US and the IC titles, and you make the world title something that is only defended at pay-per-views, which even now it's kind of only defended at pay-per-views, but then the only time you see the champion in a match is at pay-per-views, and make sure that it happens every pay-per-view, because there's that whole 30-day clause, but then you make the US title and the IC title what everyone is really chasing after, and make those titles the way that you get shots at the world title. That I could see as reasonable booking. So because of that, it's not going to happen. Just remember, anything that's reasonable or logical booking decisions, WWE is not going to do, because they suck at that. So yeah, that's that for Raw this week. Did not watch SmackDown. In fact, it was yesterday that I finally got caught up with all of my wrestling watching, so that does tend to happen. I get caught up with everything on Sundays. Let's go to NXT. NXT this week. Not a great show, but it was fun. So it starts out a tag team match with Dana Brooke and Emma against Sasha Banks and Sasha Banks' mystery partner, and Charlotte comes out. We all knew this was going to happen. And Charlotte says, "I'll be your partner, but I'm going to need a favor from you." And Sasha says, "Okay, let's do it." And they just fit in perfectly. It was great. They won the match. They each hit their finishing submission holds at the end. A great match. And then Charlotte afterwards says, they hug, they embrace and everything. Charlotte says, "Hey, that favor I mentioned, I want a women's title shot next week." And Charlotte accepted. So next week, main event, I'm sure, Sasha Banks defending the NXT Women's Championship against Charlotte. Should be freaking awesome. Those two can have amazing matches. And I think this is kind of laying the groundwork for when these two go up to the main roster to be part of Team Paige and going against the Bellas, which I think you bring those two, and then Bayley whenever she gets healthy. Oh god, the Four Horsewomen, that would be phenomenal. And oh yeah, that would be great, and I would love to see it. My fear, though, we go back to the crap going on in the Divas division on the main roster, is that Charlotte and Sasha Banks will get diluted, and it will just suck because Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon have no idea how to book female wrestling. And they should, if they do that, they need to just hand it to Triple H and say, "Okay, you have gotten a ton of respect from people from the Divas division down in NXT. Take over the division here." The problem, though, is you've got Total Divas and all that, blah, 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 blah. So, probably won't ever happen. There was a really good little backstage interview promo with Bayley, talking about her arm being jacked up, or her wrist, I think. Or no, it was her hand. Her hand was broken. Something. That was kind of cool. It was a nice little package. They did an edited replay of the Owens-Balor match from Beast in the East. It's a great match. Go out of your way. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Then we had Marcus Louis against Solomon Crowe. Marcus Louis is... Someone posted on Facebook saying something like he looked like Sloth and someone else from Goonies had a kid. And to me, he looks like a combination of Sloth and Kane. Especially when Kane was all crazy face Kane. But he wears, these jean dress pants and almost look like dress shoes. He looks like freaking Mini-Me Kane. And he's awful. He's got this whole "I lost my hair so now I'm crazy" bit. He sucked before when he and the other French idiot had that tag team, Sylvester Lefort. Oh my god, those guys are horrible. So fucking awful. they were terrible then. He lost his hair. He apparently lost grip with reality. And it's awful. So yeah, he has a match with Solomon Crowe. Okay, so Crowe sucks. He's one of the first guys from the indies that they've signed who's really not transitioned well into NXT. This match was awful. Awful. Really awful. This is not an episode of NXT I would want someone to watch to really get back into wrestling. Some of those takeover specials especially, they're like, if someone says, yeah, you used to like watch wrestling, but I don't like it anymore, put on one of those, and especially the one where Sami Zayn wins a championship from last year. Great way to get people back into wrestling. This show, not so much. We then had a main event, which was a number 1 contenders match for the tag team championship, the Vaudevillians against Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. And I've got a picture of this on as part of our graphic for this week. When Enzo and Cass came out, Enzo looked pissed. I mean, normally he looks, he's jovial, looks like he's kind of having fun. He just looked like someone shit in his breakfast and killed his dog. That's how angry he looked. And I don't know how much of it was he was told, okay, Vaudevillains are going over here. So the Vaudevillains, which, by the way, the Vaudevillains did win. It was a pretty decent match. So the Vaudevillains will get a title shot, which I think is, at some point, I think what's going to end up happening is Enzo and Cass are going to get the title match when at the show at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, which is the way it needs to be, because that crowd, that New York crowd, will go bonkers for Enzo and Cass, especially if they win the titles. That's how they need to do stuff. This show was pretty mediocre, pretty boring. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the NXT. So let's head on to, let's go ahead and talk about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor this week was a lot of fun. Dalton Castle had a match against Kentawabi, I think is his name. I know I pronounced that wrong. I've kind of skimmed through a lot of this match. I had to watch the finish of it a couple times because Castle's finishing maneuver is fantastic. He gets someone in position for the Alabama Slam, and then does this thing where he spins them, twists them around, and does like a kind of like the Canadian not the Canadian powerbomb. What's it called? Dragon Bomb. Shit, that powerbomb that Sami Zayn uses a lot, where it's kind of a spinning sit-out powerbomb. Well, he does this, but when he does the sit-out and drops his opponent, they're going down face first. Freaking great. And then he gets on the mic, and he's got his boys, and they come out and they make a human chair for him, which he lounges on, and basically talks some smack and makes a reference to Silas Young, which Silas Young comes out all hella pissed. Then we had an in-ring interview with Jay Lethal and the Truth Martini and the House of Truth guys came out with him. And Nigel McGuinness is in the ring doing the interview. And it's really good, says congratulations, all that. And he says, okay, so you've won both belts. Which one are you planning on vacating? And Jay Lethal's like, what the hell are you talking about? And says, I'm not giving up either of these things. I am the undisputed champion. How can I defend the undisputed championship if I don't have both belts? And Nigel McGuinness basically says, look, dude, there's a possibility that you're going to have to defend both of these titles in the same show, in the same night. And he says, fine, I will do that. No problem. He says, you know what? Next week, I'm going to defend the TV title against Mark Briscoe on Ring of Honor television. And then at Field of Honor, I'm going to defend against Roderick Strong. And then Roderick Strong came out. Roderick Strong, here's the thing. He's a great wrestler, good-looking dude. He looks a lot like Ryan Reynolds' little brother. His mic skills leave something to be desired. So he needs to just not talk. He just needs to stand there, look good, and wrestle. Really good interview segment. And then we had our main event, The Kingdom, Michael Bennett, Matt Taven, and Adam Cole with Maria Kanellis against the team of Red Dragon and Michael Elgin, and I cannot remember the guys from Red Dragon's names. So the Kingdom came out first. Maria did a promo where she basically apologized to Adam Cole. Cole just looks angrier than hell and irritated at this whole thing. The Kingdom give Cole a hug, and it was great. Adam Cole just stood there looking angry. It was so good. Michael Elgin comes out. Elgin as a babyface is really, really good. Red Dragon comes out. Hell, I just can't even begin to describe this match. This match, probably second best match of the week. It's fantastic. Lots of back and forth, tons of near falls. Eventually, Red Dragon got the pin on Michael Cole. And at the end of the match, Adam Cole, he did the whole Code of Honor thing, shook one of the guys from Red Dragon's hand, the guy that doesn't have the mustache. And apparently he and Cole used to be partners at one point. Did not know that. Learned that from commentary. And then Cole raised his hand as the Kingdom stand there looking just dismayed, and Cole leaves the ring by himself. So I think we are possibly getting an Adam. God, why do I keep calling him Michael Cole? An Adam Cole face turn, as the crowd was totally into it. They were chanting "Leave the Kingdom," and like crazy. So really good stuff. I can't wait to see what happens with this going forward. I like the Kingdom. But I really like Adam Cole. I think he is just a hell of a talent. So yeah, a great episode of Ring of Honor this week. And then we get to Lucha Underground. So Lucha Underground Season 2 apparently is a go. Sort of. El Rey has come out and said, hey, we want you back. We want Season 2. Here's how much money we'll give you. And the Lucha Underground folks have said, oh, well, that's not quite enough money. So they're working to try to figure out ways of making it work. They've talked about other possible networks, going to Netflix, DVD sales, whatever. They're like, nothing is off the table. So the good news on this is everyone wants Lucha Underground Season 2 to happen. The bad news is it's not a done deal. But so we had Lucha Underground, and admittedly my notes on this was the last show I watched, so it's a little fresher in my mind, and my notes aren't all that detailed. Show opens up with Pentagon Jr. in what looks like a dojo of some kind, talking to his master. The master had some voiceover. He never see the guy. And Pentagon's basically just going on about how he wants to make Vampiro sacrifice at Ultima Lucha. He's actually Vampiro's real name, which I didn't know, but I kind of assumed it was Vampiro, but I wasn't sure. When they got into the temple, first match of the week was the Mac versus Cage. This was a lot of fun, man. These are two big guys that can fly around, and that match was a hell of a lot of fun. Mac won with a schoolboy roll-up. It was a lot of fun. It was a great match. I can't say enough good things about it. You need to see it. Then there was a backstage bit. We had Son of Havoc, who otherwise known as M-Dog Matt Cross, was holding his title at a locker. He gets approached by Katrina, who's getting up all in his face. Ivelisse breaks it up and says, bitch, what are you doing? Katrina gets in Ivelisse's face. There's some near pushing. Lights go out. Son of Havoc and Ivelisse fall on the ground. Ivelisse is laying on top of him. They look like they're almost going to kiss. And Helico walks in the room and says, oh no. Does this mean you guys are back together again? And it was great in unison. Havoc and Ivelisse look at each other, look over at him, and just say, shut up! It was so good. It was so good. Those three are just so effing fantastic together. We then had a Vampiro Pentagon Jr. interview. One of those, pre-recorded before the audience gets their interview segments. It was fantastic. Pentagon, it was just so intense. Vampiro kept saying, I'm not getting in the ring with you. I'm done. My in-ring career is over. And Pentagon keeps talking smack. It was just really good. Then we had a match, Mil Muertes against Son of Havoc. This match was fantastic. Son of Havoc is one of the great unsung heroes in pro wrestling right now. He is so good. Matt Cross. And Mil Muertes is really good too. But it was just... I can't even remember all the blow-by-blow stuff. But it was great. So yeah, I totally enjoyed it. You gotta watch that one. Tejano comes into the ring for a promo, challenges Chavo Guerrero to a match at Ultima Lucha. The crew runs in. They kind of take out Tejano. Blue Demon Jr. comes in to make a save. But the crew throw him a chair. He uses it to take out Tejano. It's set up. But Blue Demon's pissed. He's like, you know what? I'm Mexico, not you. And so at Ultima Lucha, we're going to have Tejano against Blue Demon Jr. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Main event was eight-person tag team match with Team Alberto, which is Alberto El Patron, Sexy Star, Drago, and Aerostar, against Team Mundo, which was Johnny Mundo, Jack Evans, Superfly, and Hernandez. Mundo is such a good heel. He comes in, the match it looks like it's going to start between Patron and Mundo. And Mundo just tags somebody else in and jumps out of the ring, and he kind of doing the chicken shit heel thing. So good. Let's see. The whole match was really good, but there were a number of botches, I thought, or just little things that just didn't quite go. Overall, it was a lot of fun. It just took them a while to kind of get in the groove, because these are a whole bunch of people that normally aren't tagging together. But it was fun, and at one point there was a Sexy Star hit a leg drop, and Matt Striker says, "Nice leg drop, brother." It was pretty funny. Mundo gets a pin with a fistful of Sexy Star's tights. It was a fun match. And then as they're getting ready to go off the air, credits are rolling. Pentagon Jr. comes out of nowhere from the crowd behind the announcers, kicks Vampiro in the head, beats the crap out of him, pours gasoline on him, threatens to burn him if he doesn't accept his challenge for Ultima Lucha, then says, "I will give you a week to decide," and leaves him laying there. Hell of a way to go off the show. So yeah, that is... I think there's anything else. So we talked about Tough Enough, talking about Season 2. Yeah, so that was pretty much wrestling this week. It was a lot of fun stuff. And like I said during my rant earlier on, there's tons of great wrestling on television. If you are not finding great wrestling on television, you're just not looking hard enough. Because there's great shit out there for you to watch. But a couple things before we head out. San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend, so a whole bunch of non-wrestling stuff happened. There was wrestling stuff going on. I guess the WWE debuted some action figures. Sami Zayn was there, Finn Balor was there, Kevin Owens was there. Apparently during the panel, Kevin Owens was just healing it up against Sami Zayn. Just little things. I did see a Sami Zayn interview after the panel, and he talked about how it's awesome getting an action figure, and his figure's going to have the NXT Championship, so he thinks that's super cool. They ask him about his thoughts on Finn Balor becoming champion. And he's like, well, it sucks not being able to be in the mix because I want to be, and I'm still recovering. But you're not going to find a more worthy champion than Finn Balor. Talked up Finn Balor, so yeah. And I think whenever he does come back, which apparently he said isn't going to be until late this year, early next year, hopefully we're going to get him and Kevin Owens in a feud. And something Solomonster suggested this week on his show, which I agree with, it would be a phenomenal WrestleMania match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And that would be a show stealer. Let them go out and do it. Yeah, I'm take my money. That's all I got to say about that. Take my money. But other things at Comic-Con, there was the DC Comics big panel where they released a Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice trailer, which it's 3.5 minutes long, and it's amazing. And they also put that online. There was a Suicide Squad trailer, which has not been released online officially, but has leaked. That's also pretty freaking cool. There was Arrow and Flash all had panels. Arrow will be called Green Arrow going forward, which makes me very happy. The whole thing was just fantastic. Then you had Fox come out and they showed a They showed a Deadpool trailer, which is also leaked and not been officially released, and it's phenomenal. It's just, that movie's going to be so good. That part was so tailor-made for Ryan Reynolds, and as much as I would love to see Ryan Reynolds come back as Green Lantern, DC has announced that they're doing a Green Lantern Corps movie. That's what will happen, and there will be 3 Green Lanterns that are based out of Earth. So that means we're going to get Hal Jordan, we're going to get Jon Stewart, and we're probably going to get Guy Gardner. Best of both worlds that way, man. Because you've got your Jon Stewart fans, you've got your Hal Jordan fans. And I think you can't do Justice League, a true Justice League origin, without Hal Jordan. But, we're also going to... We're not going to have to wait forever for Jon Stewart. That's fantastic. So it made me super excited about everything that's coming up with the comic book movies, which I just love and just absolutely love and adore. So yeah, so that's that. One other piece of business. So this show is done in partnership with the folks at K98 Talk, and who have run by some good friends of mine. They pay the bills, all that stuff, and they have gotten the ability, they've gotten some advertisers, finally, which is great, because the poor guy who's the station manager, he's been putting a ton of money into this and needs to start seeing some back. So what does that mean for Around the Ring? It means at the very least there is going to be one 60-second commercial that will be played at the end of each show. But there's also the possibility for me having commercials that will pay out directly to me, and this is where I get a little confused in how this whole thing works. But that 60-second commercial pays out to the station. I can also sign up to get commercials that pay out to me, and essentially I would get the most bang for my buck if I played 2 of them during the show. But I would play one commercial for myself, one for him, and I'm thinking about doing the commercial in the middle or at the beginning. And I've been a little hesitant because I've listened to shows like Jericho and Steve Austin, and even like the PW Torch shows. Those shows, the first 10 minutes, it feels like, are nothing but ads. And it's annoying. And I understand, man, people got to pay their bills. They really do. And I've been lucky. If I would have had to have done this whole thing out of my pocket this entire time, no way this is happening. No way this show's more than 30 minutes long. Because you can get free 30-minute long podcasts. But so that's the deal. So my concern has been, I don't want things to be invasive. And we're a very small show. we have, in my head, I think of the Faithful 40. Most weeks I have, almost every week we have at least 40 listeners. Now, I'm not sure how many folks are listening to us through Kings of Wrestling Radio, and I'm not sure how much tune in and Stitcher, if that gets part of the stats that I'm able to see through Spreaker, because we're, not to talk shop, but the show is housed on Spreaker, and that's where I get my stats. And I'm not sure how much of that is how much of those stats include things from those other platforms, since those platforms pull TuneIn and Stitcher, at least pull from the RSS feed, pull from basically the Stitcher feed or the Spreaker feed, and hopefully I've also put in for iTunes, so hopefully we'll have iTunes up at some point. But where am I going with this? Oh, ads. This is a small show. I've been extremely lucky that anyone's listened at all. And the last thing I want to do is turn people off by there being a whole bunch of commercials. But I'm thinking, a 30-second commercial in the middle, maybe after be the breaking point between the WWE and non-WWE part of the show, and then a minute-long commercial at the end. Not really too much of a big deal. But I would like to know what folks think. I posted this question on Facebook in a couple of different places, and for the most part, the feedback I've been getting was pretty positive, along the lines of, as long as it's not these huge 15-minute intros of ads like Jericho does, then you got to pay your bills. And so yeah, I'm no ads are on this episode. I have that 60-second one I'm supposed to play at the end, but I don't have it. It was supposed to be emailed to me, and it never was, which is no big deal. We can add it next week. But if you hear an ad in the middle of the show, that may be what's going on. But I would like some feedback on that, because I'm not sure, and I don't want to alienate the handful of fans I have, or I shouldn't even say fans, the handful of folks who listen to this show, because I want to keep the show growing, and don't want to irk anyone. So there we go. Other than maybe irking someone because they disagree with my opinion, that's fine. If you don't like my opinion on something, fine, suck it. But I don't want people not listening to the show because they hear a commercial. So that's it. So you can check us out on all the different social medias. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. The handle for all of it, Around the Ring OK. Shoot me an email, aroundtheringok@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on the Kings of Wrestling Radio, kowradio.weebly.com. We air Tuesday nights right after Tough Enough, but every night they've got tons of great shows on there, really worth checking out. And that's all we got for now. So appreciate everyone listening in, and hope you all have a great week. And as Jerry Springer always said, take care of yourselves and each other.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view. And believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Bam! Woo!
That sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? It's for charity.